is Passion for Your Passions, a podcast about what makes life worth living. I'm Julie.
And I'm Krista. And on this episode, we have a special guest.
Hi, I'm Luke, the reoccurring mystery guest. Today is our Earth Day special where we are talking about gardening and all things Earth Day.
Yes, I worked really hard to get this episode in, okay? We were supposed to be on Fridays.
I do also like how it was our episode. Like, this is now a 3-person podcast.
Yeah, I don't know why that was in my line. I just read what was on the thing.
You're just as much as a part of this as we are.
Yes.
Minus the editing.
Watch me become an absolute terror when it comes to horticulture.
We're ready for it.
I have been telling Julie that ever since I have started back at school, and all of the fun things.
You're sassing me about plants I didn't put there.
I literally pulled up to Julie's yard and was already like, that's gotta go, that's gotta go, we gotta fix this, we're gonna prune that, all right.
Go at it. Like, I've tried to kill a lot of these.
I'm like, game plan. We're gonna make one and we're gonna take action on it.
Okay, so the thing that I wanted to talk about, Persona 5, just so everyone knows, is a 120-hour game, almost minimally. I have now played this game 2 times, and I now want to play it again. What is wrong with me? Please help me. I have problems.
You need a new hobby, like gardening.
And that's it. Cold open over. Julie segued already.
She said garden. That's it.
That's
Did you
it.
play
Forget Persona.
Royale?
Yeah. I mean, I played the first one. It wasn't Royale. Now I've played Royale. And now I pretty much want to keep playing it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think now it's just stuck in my brain forever. I don't know.
I don't blame you. It is a great game.
So now I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West, and it's not the same. It's not filling the hole in my heart.
It's so good, though.
I haven't played it.
It's so good, though.
I haven't played it.
I am enjoying
the story.
I am enjoying it. I'm not saying it like I'm not enjoying it. It's just, I think that I have now played like close to 300 hours of Persona, and it's just burned into me.
Holy hell.
She has become Persona 5.
Yeah, I'm now an anime person.
That's fair.
By default now.
Look, okay, one of the things I will say that really does crack me up about Persona, and then we can move on, is it's always about, like, hot teenagers. Like, everybody who's in the group, there's no ugly person. They're just hot, which is just, it just really cracks me up. Because it's like,
you can create your own world. Why wouldn't everybody be
society hot? Or, you know, whatever the thing Atlas is plugging at the moment. But it's like, no, they have to be attractive, though. That's important.
That's fair.
It is. If you could create your own society, why wouldn't everybody be hot?
Well, I didn't say everybody was hot. It's just the people in the main group.
The people that matter.
Yeah.
And then everybody else doesn't really have their face detailed, so you can't really tell.
There you go. That's what the world really is anyway.
Though I will say, Krista, you did say on the anime episode that you do like absurd animes. And what is more absurd than a hot group of friends going into a different reality, fighting their teachers? Question mark?
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, I don't know.
It's like Sucker Punch, but not really.
Here's the other thing that really cracks me up
that
about
movie.
Persona, right? Is I don't really like the story that much. Which is definitely weird for me, because I am
300
a huge
hours
story person. Like, the story's not bad. It's just not very good, I guess is the way I would put it. There's definitely low points in the story. Like, especially towards the end. Because towards the end, it gets to a point where it's like, what the fuck is happening? What is the story anymore?
It's like Bayonetta. You're just there for the pretty visuals and the music.
Yeah. And, you know, so that way I can live my life as a teenager in Japanese school system.
Fair.
Who wouldn't want that?
I wish we got stretch breaks here in America.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes I do wish I was a Japanese school-age person. For some reason, they make it seem like it's the best.
I've heard it's pretty grueling.
It's not reality.
I've heard
That's
it's
why
really intense.
That's why they have to keep making these games and shows, is because the reality is horrible. So they're like, let's daydream as if it weren't.
They're like, you'll be hot, maybe. I don't know.
Well, maybe you have to daydream about being a Japanese high schooler who also gardens on the side.
That seems like a very Japan thing to be.
Right. So, is this how you started with gardening? Were you a Japanese schoolgirl who daydreamed about better things?
Actually. I mean, I wasn't a schoolgirl yet, but little did I know, I was well on the path, headed full steam ahead, straight into that journey.
But not just a regular schoolgirl, a Japanese schoolgirl.
A Japanese schoolgirl. You know, to be completely honest with you, Japan is like one of the leaders in botany and in horticulture.
And also
next to,
Japanese
like,
schoolgirls.
But also,
So it all ends up.
I think they're not real Japanese schoolgirls unless they come from Japan, right? So
I mean,
it's like champagne. It's not really
It's not really
champagne unless it comes from the
Champagne.
Champagne region in France.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure when I was a schoolgirl, you wouldn't have called me a Japanese schoolgirl. That would have been weird.
maybe at heart.
You know, to be completely honest, I don't think I would have ever called anyone a schoolgirl.
No. Being square? No.
If I'm gonna be
Student.
completely
You
real
are a
with you,
student.
I don't even think I would have called. Maybe I occasionally throw the word peer out there as a, but I'm like person
Classmate,
yeah,
student.
that I go
Yeah.
to school with.
I don't know.
I guess there's a word.
I spend a lot of time calling people dudes and guys, and
Bruh.
it's not anything. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's like a good term to call a group of people other than dudes or guys.
All of my friends, we say bruh, like really ironically, and now it's just part of our conversation. So I literally get texts that are like bruh, like all typed out.
Wow, and in my friend group, we call each other sis.
See? This
Yeah.
is the difference. The same, but opposite.
Well,
Same vibe, different day.
Getting back to gardening and earthling.
Yes.
I know. We can act like plants. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. He's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero.
Hello, welcome to Gardener's World. Well, it's April. Whilst the April weather can make fools of us all, you cannot now deny that spring is truly here.
So, how did it start? I guess for both Luke and Julie, because you guys are both really into gardening. I'm kind of a noob, just to throw that out there.
Well, I already had my whole spiel about gardening, so now it's Luke's turn
Okay.
to shed the light on the beginnings.
It's all Julie's fault.
Shit.
It always is.
I mean, to be
I do a lot.
yeah, to be complete, actually, her and her mother's fault.
You mean Monty Don's fault?
Well, Monty Don's fault. Yeah, yeah. Julie and I do this thing, and she does this thing with like a lot of people, so I guess it's like not super
It started
special.
with us.
But yeah, it did start with us. She does this thing where we'll like spend a weekend together, and in May of last year, this is why it's kind of important to have that willpower. See, you overcome your obstacles. We spent a weekend, Memorial Day weekend of last year together, and we had Studio Ghibli weekend, where we cooked a lot of good food, and we spent a lot of time outdoors. I hung out with her mom, and we talked about her garden stuff, and I think ultimately, so this was at a point where I was working at Anthem. I was working in health insurance, of all places, and I just wasn't happy. I was working from home, and that was kind of all right, but I just wanted something different, and I wanted something that I felt was going to be fulfilling. And I wanted something that, whatever it was that I did, that I was going to help make a difference. You know, one of my, God, this isn't like going to make my parents sound awful. I swear to God, they're not that terrible. So my dad and I, you know, we kind of go around, and he actually posed the question to me about like climate change and the environment and politics and stuff like that. He was like, what are you going to do about it? And that actually really played a big role in why I decided to get into horticulture. So I guess to clarify, Julie was the catalyst. My dad gave me the question to answer, and it all sort of just weirdly lined up. So I enrolled in school probably about a month after our weekend that we spent together, and I enrolled in sustainable horticulture. That's actually what I'm currently getting my degree in, as well as I'm actually double majoring sustainable horticulture and landscape horticulture. Haven't decided if I'm going to get a third one for turf grass. I don't really like turf, but I get the point of it. Listen, I told you I'm going to be a terror. The amount of information that I'm about to dump on you all, I'm so sorry, but the earth needs it.
I'm amazed that you can get a major in turf grass.
Yeah, turf grass management. Golf course management is like a really lucrative business, which is kind of stupid because they like cut down a lot of trees. But I don't know. Grass is really cool. I met in one of my classes. I've
not heard a nerdier statement in a while.
Yeah.
Grass is like really cool though.
It is cool, but like you have to like understand grass.
Well, before you move on too much with this, I do want to kind of get like a basic definition out there. Can you describe what horticulture is, like what it means for somebody who might not know?
The dictionary definition is the art or practice of garden cultivation and management. So like the study of plants and then like the implementation of plants in a landscape. Which I guess I should also say that I am planning on going forward into botany. Plant research is really what I want to get into. And back to my why I got into it is because I do want to do it in an effort to fight climate change. I do have some sad facts I'm going to throw out at you. I am really sorry, but it just comes with the territory. However, there is always like a silver lining, like light at the end of the tunnel sort of mentality in this industry, which is really cool. And where we live, believe it or not, it's one of like the top horticulture areas in the world. Well, not in the world, I would say. And
what?
I mean, kind of based upon certain things, but most definitely in America. The program that I'm currently enrolled in, I don't know if I should say this, but it is the like top. It's 14. It's like number 14 on the top list of schools for horticulture, and the program is actually really intensive. You do have to get, I mean, I guess it's like not that crazy, but you do have to get like a 75, like overall, like a C to pass the entire program. So like if you like get a D or fail a class, you have to retake it. It's very intensive, which is really neat. It's like, I feel like I'm like doing surgery or something like that, like being a doctor where they're like, no, you have to be able to pass this.
Right.
You have to be able to save that oak tree.
Exactly.
It's important.
Do you know what iron chlorosis is?
Because I do now.
Yeah,
that tree is dying.
Well, it is really crazy because, and I was telling Julie this, once you or one as an individual has their eyes open to like what species are out there and are able to like identify it, it's really kind of sad seeing all of the invasive species that are around in our area, and not just in our area. So we went down to North Carolina as a school. I competed in the NCLC, which is the National Collegiate Landscape Competition. It's sponsored by like a bunch of people like Steele, John Deere. I mean, like the big guys, Davy Trees, Bartlett Trees, all these people. And that's actually, I'm wearing a Davy Tree t-shirt that says trees are the answer, because they are. Also, I felt it was appropriate for an Earth Day podcast. Right?
Just not the invasive ones, though.
No, definitely not.
No, those are the enemy.
Yes, those are the enemy. Though there is like a moralistic question, I guess, with like everything. Like if you were to like essentially commit genocide to a species, like what does that do to listen?
It's the give and take. It's the idea of the same thing when you think of like a diet when you have some sugar. It's like, yeah, if I have a small bowl of ice cream, that's probably okay. If I plant a couple of these trees that don't technically belong here, sure, but it's all about the control. And like when people put bamboo in places, I'm like, you idiots! Like,
So,
you can't control that. Like, that's not
all right.
okay.
So This is gonna be my first gotcha question, and I am gonna mention it in like true Passion for Your Passions podcast style. Segue.
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 So, bamboo is not invasive
To here?
to anywhere.
What?
So bamboo is not invasive. It's actually a misconception. You can go to pretty much any horticulturalist and they'll tell you this. And this is why. It takes about 100 years for any one bamboo species to produce a flower. And what happens is after it flowers, well, it puts all of its energy into flowering. And then the whole species dies off. So then it all goes to seed. So the way there are technically two types of bamboo. You have your runners and your clumpers. So your runners are the ones that shoot out like rhizomes and they sprawl. And then your clumpers, which we have a native clumper. I think it's a clumper, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. Please don't judge me too harshly. Kentucky river cane is native to the area. And it's pretty like dense. It's pretty grassy almost. It still has like a true cane and it still has like all the features of bamboo. But in order for something to be invasive, it is pervasive.
Okay.
It is pervasive. It is relatively an aggressive plant because it does spread pretty readily.
It's that and how much water it takes. So then it'll take water from the neighboring.
It can, yeah,
plants.
it can.
Yeah.
It is a grass. However, they do use in a lot of places bamboo as like erosion control.
Yeah.
It is one of the things. I mean,
Well, the argument can be said for the erosion control is that a lot of our invasive species are that from where like
they used to
we
be.
were
Yes.
mass like cutting things down and then they were like, I wonder what we could do to fix this. Let's plant kudzu and
Yes.
honeysuckle. That'll
No, very
control
bad.
the erosion. And it's like, why did you do this?
Very bad. Yeah,
how would
unfortunately,
you
amber
determine
honeysuckle.
if something is invasive, because I think that there's a lot of different ways that you could look at this. Like you look at some place like Japan or China or a place that has bamboo. It's all over there and it's fine.
Yeah.
Why is it not fine here?
So, well, it is, but the thing is when you classify something as invasive, one, it has to readily like seed. It has to be able to pollinate itself or be pollinated in some way and seed like aggressively. So you're looking at things like the
Mint.
Norway maple. Mint can grow pretty readily out of control. Bradford pear or calorie pear, that's like the big one that you see. Amber honeysuckle, which is bush honey, well, a form of a bush honeysuckle because there are many. You also have things like lacebark elm. Or they call it like a Chinese elm. Ulmus parviflora. No, wait, parviflora.
That sounds like a weird French like song.
Yes.
Like coming in, just that warm like night where they're romancing someone.
It's definitely parvifolia. I just
Or like a Harry Potter spell.
Listen. Okay, wait a minute. So funny thing, and tying back to your Teen Titans thing. So the thornless honey locust, right? Every time I say the name, like this is how I would remember it, is from Teen Titans. Okay, the scientific name for thornless honey locust, Gladitia triacanthos variety inermis, and I would think of Raven from Teen Titans. Literally, the way that I would say it is the same way that she would say like her spell. And yes, except I would say triacanthos, which is like, I mean, plant identification, it has to be really personal because there are like millions of species of plants out there, and we've only maybe named, I want to say like somewhere around like I think it's actually like 900,000 if I'm not mistaken.
Well, now that you're getting all educated and whatnot,
Unfortunately.
my like gardening style is very hillbilly.
Yeah.
And so like our conversations entertain me in that way because I'll know something by its hillbilly name and you sometimes won't and you'll be like, oh, I know what that is, and you say this long name, I'm like, yeah, what I said. Like it works the same way. And then with these invasive arguments where it's like, well, this is what I consider invasive. If it is a problem, like it's something like with honeysuckle, as much as it is invasive,
Yeah.
I see it as like, not only does it have all these definitions that go with invasive, is it technically kills the other trees just because deer don't eat it. Like creatures won't eat it, and thus they eat everything else, and it takes all the sunlight, takes all the nutrients, and keeps taking over. And so it's just very funny that, like, you're the educated one, and now I'm the hillbilly with all my, like, common names and stuff.
And that's, it is really interesting to talk about that, because I think people are able to see, like, I mean, obviously, people are able to see when something is a problem. And I don't think that they realize that, like,
how expansive it is.
Well, not only how expansive it is, but, like, how in tune people are. So, like, you're right, deer don't really like to eat it, but birds eat it. Birds eat the berries. So,
and then spread more seeds.
So birds eat the berries of amber honeysuckle, Locust macii, just throwing the name out there, which is bush honeysuckle. And
it's like you're taking a test, whatever you
well, I'm just like, I feel like I need to throw it out there so that way you know. Like, so the reason why you learn the scientific names is because that is the name of the plant. It is universal. Like, I could go to Japan and I could say Locust macii and they would know that I'm talking about amber honeysuckle. If I say, like, bush honeysuckle, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I just imagine you, like, grabbing
someone and saying that and they just stare
you're
at you.
like, Locust macii!
I will take
like,
you.
ah!
I
like,
will
not
take
the
you to
common
the
man.
nearest honeysuckle.
Exactly. Well, I guess anyone who's, you know, like, in botany or in horticulture, they'd understand. But so Locust macii, amber honeysuckle, it does, in theory, there are, like, working theories that it actually does produce toxins in its roots, and that's what stops things from germinating. So another tree that does that, which this is kind of up for debate right now, but black walnut trees.
Black walnut, even the wood is toxic, because there were people in the warehouses when they were processing the wood that would get cancers and get sick, and they had to, like, those loans out. And the walnuts, like, they tarnish the ground. Nothing grows around a black walnut.
Yeah, you can get, like, some native species that have evolved with it will kind of grow. And then obviously turf. I mean,
they
turf
just all look so sad, though. They're like, master. Like, they're
Well,
taking
It kind of reminds me
and that's
of
an
vultures.
adaptation.
Like, when you have... Because were you telling me that, Julie? That, like, vultures, when they have, like, a vulture tree, it just...
Yeah!
It
They're like owls where they throw up instead of having, like, poop or defecation. They throw up, and so all the stomach acid starts eating away and killing the trees they nest in.
Wow.
Well,
and so you get these weird vulture trees that they double kill.
well, it's really weird, and it bothers me a lot now, because I don't know why, but the place where I work, there's this weird tendency that every once in a while a ton of vultures will show up. Like, it'll be like 20 vultures.
Oh, no.
And not like at my work, but it's like near my work, so when I'm driving home, I'm like, I am very frightened.
Oh no.
We had a vulture tree, and I was just like, god damn it. Like, they're gonna kill everything. It was right on the cover, like, front of my woods. And then I have a generation after generation, we get these red-tailed hawks. She was fucking mad. She chased every single one of them off. Like, get the hell out of here.
I bet.
She was aggressive. So we've been talking about all these invasive species and, like, more specifics, but to the common person, what are some of the things you want them to know?
Okay. Well, first of all, being able to identify the species is probably the most important thing. If you are currently driving in the Midwest, or probably pretty much anywhere, and you notice that there is a lot of white trees.
A beautiful flowering tree.
Yes, a lot of beautiful flowering white trees along the interstates, probably your private residence, roads. That is most likely, because I doubt that it's your magnolias, that's most likely Callery pear or Bradford pear. It is an Asiatic pear tree. The scientific name for it is Pyrus calleriana.
See, that just sounds aggressive, or like Rihanna meets a pirate.
Kind of. Well, the pear that we eat is Pyrus communis.
Mm-hmm. The common pear.
Yes, the common pear. So
see, I got learning, people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen,
it
I
just
told you,
makes
I'm
me
gonna be a
laugh,
terror.
the common pear.
That's what it's called.
It's the pear for the poor folk.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Not
as
that
common,
fancy
okay?
Asian pear.
Yeah, not
No.
enough Asian pears here.
Well, you don't really ever want to eat the pear off of the Callery pear.
No.
Well, wait, do you in Asia do they call it an Asian pear? This
Yeah,
is
they
the
have
thing
a
that
tree
always
that's called an
bothers
Asian pear.
Yeah.
Or is it a common
Well,
pear
I think-
to them?
Well,
No, they don't
it
call it
could
a common
be.
pear. But no, it's based on the name as well. That's why I said common pear, because of how the Latin goes with it. Theirs is like, I don't know what theirs is called though. I don't know the scientific name, I guess I should say.
I'm not sure, because there are, like, I mean, I guess it depends on the variety or the cultivar. Plus, we don't really want to grow that. So the calorie pear, unfortunately, is like, it's kind of akin to like Frankenstein's monster. It's doing what it's doing, and that's what. Oh, yeah. I can't say that. I will butcher that word.
We looked up what an Asian pear is called, and it's like nothing like that.
Nisajiki.
It's something Asian. I'll
Yeah,
tell you that much.
Yeah.
Jiki.
Well, no, like the species name, like he was saying, like you can go to another botanist and it's the exact same name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like theirs just sounds really Asian.
Yeah.
Well,
an Asian pear.
It's like, you know, the periodic table of elements, right? So you can go to somebody and you can say, like, this is nitrogen. And they're going to be like, right.
Right. That's not called anything else.
They're like, it's definitely, I mean,
Okay. So every time you talk about this just reminds me, I saw this meme or something recently where it was like talking about this guy who he studied ancient Greek or something, and he was in Greece and he didn't know modern Greek. So he was at a hotel and they were like, oh, and I need to stay at this hotel for another night, but he didn't know how to say it. So he like went to his old textbook and like pulled up an old story of like this thing where it was like Jason asking somebody to, like that he needed to stay at a hotel, and he gave it to the lady and she was like, okay, but then she let him stay. I just imagine it being like that, like you're in Japan and you're like, I want this. And somebody's like, oh, okay.
They're like, all right, why are you speaking Latin? But okay.
Like, I guess we got the same lines going.
Exactly.
Take me to this tree.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice to have that commonality. Granted, I'm sure that there are plenty more, you know,
there's other things
language barriers. Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
I mean, if I do go to Japan, you know, plants are definitely one of the things that I want to see. You know what else I learned? So, going off of the name thing, not to tangent too far, but like pothos is pothos, and bonsai is bonsai.
Everybody could be ashamed now.
And I literally, I get not like chastised. Also, I do want to say, so everybody calls it a tulip poplar, but it is not a tulip poplar. It's a tulip tree because it's actually in the magnolia family. It's not in the populus family with like the aspens and the poplars. So I just want to put that out there. I've had people correct me many times for saying it. But I mean, people still
I will die.
People will still call it tulip poplar. However, you can eat. Drink the nectar from the tulip poplar flowers. Yeah. Tulip tree flowers. Yes.
No, that's one of my crowning achievements. Is Krista was like, Julie, there's a tree on my street, and I really like it, and I don't know what it is. And I went, bet you right now I know what it is because of the blooming time. And I was like, I bet it's a tulip poplar. She's like, I don't know. And we go up, I'm like, bitch, it's tulip poplar.
I knew it.
Because I knew their blooming time, and she's like, it has these weird flowers. I was like, yep.
I will say that for me, half of what has gotten me into plants has either been the amount of trees that are in my neighborhood, because I don't really understand what is up with my neighborhood, but they like to fucking grow trees.
Nice.
There's like almost any kind of tree that you can think of in my neighborhood. They just really grow trees here. But then also, I think, again, some of it's from Julie, and it'll just be like me coming across a plant, and it's like, well, I'm going to try to plant this in my crappy garden, because I keep saying this, I have this terrible garden on the side of my house. I need to fix it. And apparently, instead of fixing it, all that I do is I just keep putting random crap in there. And I'm like, I wonder if it'll grow.
Hey, you know what? That's like the best way to learn, though. The thing is any good horticulturalist will tell you, or even a botanist, you're going to kill a plant. Like, it's just going to happen. You're going to kill them. It's going to happen. Like, my personal weakness is succulents. For the love of God. If I could keep a succulent alive, I would be the proudest person on this planet. I have some pretty intense houseplants. perfectly fine. Like perfectly fine. Like super sensitive things that would like carnivorous plants, which are super picky about like what their soil matrix is, like what it's just. But like a succulent, I like forget about it for way too long. Everyone's like, oh, you just like forget about it and water it every once in a while. And I come back like 3 months later and I'm like, oh yeah, you're dead. I'm like,
that was too long.
And so I just like, and it's funny because like I do have that one succulent from you that has magically stayed alive, and I don't know how the hell it has. I literally it's in like the pot has no drainage hole, and I think that's like why it's still alive. Because like I'll just like pour a bunch of water in there, and then
you're
I'm
good
like,
for a month.
all right, goodbye. Or aloe. I guess aloe is technically a succulent.
It's a very forgiving
but
succulent.
it is.
Try and kill me.
I have like 700 pups that have come off of that thing, and I'm like, I don't know.
I finally got mine to stop breeding. I'm like, yeah, you suffer now.
I'm like, all right, you're done.
Stop it, woman.
But I'm just like, hi, I like the way that they look, but no one is ever allowed to give me a succulent again because I just feel like
I gave you a rare desert black rose. You killed it, didn't you?
No, I think that's the one. It's in
That's
like
the one,
that blue
that's the one?
pot.
That's the one I gave you in the like glass geo thing.
No, it's dead.
Okay. There we go.
I'm sorry. I can't. I don't know what my problem
I can't
is.
keep String of Pearls alive.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, they're so pretty. Fuck.
My String of Hearts is actually doing really well right now.
My String of Hearts lives.
Yes.
I think all of
anyway.
my bushes keep dying. I don't know why. It's like every time I have a bush, it just dies.
Okay.
Did your smoke bush die?
My smoke bush is still fine, but it's like every other bush keeps dying. And I don't understand why.
Smoke bush is smoking them out.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. That is
Don't
a
sass
phenomenal...
about smoke
no,
bush.
no. I was about to say, that is a phenomenal plant. I love it. Okay, so that's Cotinus. That's the genus. And then,
That sounds like a Greek. Like,
hold on. I have
lord.
to... It's...
Cotinus.
Cotinus. Cotinus. Cotinus.
Like so close to your highness, but with a really
think it's-
harsh consonant.
Okay, so I'm going to mispronounce this, but its species name is... It's like Cogigria. It's like C.
Okay, now you're a barbarian.
I don't know.
The
Cotinus.
way you're saying that is definitely the
Agreed.
hillbilly way.
Yeah, probably. The thing is I can like, if I can like point to it and say this is Cotinus something, somebody will be like, all right, I got it. Yeah, I got it. You're
Close
good.
enough, bro.
But no, Cotinus is a really great plant. They get really, really pretty and super wispy in the winter, and they're really fun. Their flowers are really cool. Yeah, no, I
like trying
10
to
out of
catch
10.
smoke.
It is a really good plant to grow here. It definitely is something that I would try to continue to invest in. I think
It's a
My
birthday
whole
gift.
thing is I just want all the plants that are super colorful. You know, the bright yellow. I really still want my sacrificial Japanese maple. I'm looking forward to it.
That blood red one.
Okay, but I will have to say, after listening to the gardening episode, you are not allowed to have that red bush, Krista. That red bush. That is winged elatus. That's burning bush. That is an invasive species.
That's what I said.
Oh, no.
You
It's
did
probably
say it.
burning bush.
You did say it, but you're not allowed to have it. It's very bad. It's very invasive.
No, not allowed.
I actually don't think that they sell it anymore, or if they don't, they're not supposed to, or if they do, they're not supposed to rather.
Well,
You should
can
get the
I?
fire willow. like
Well,
I said.
can't I
Yeah,
have the
nice
sacrificial
sales.
Japanese maple though?
You can have a Japanese maple. You are allowed to have that.
Okay.
You should get the half moon ones.
The half moon one's green.
They have a red cultivar.
Did they?
Yeah.
I've only seen it green. But I want one.
But they're really cool. They're
They're like more
palmate
rounded
leaves.
instead of the lacy.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
They're really cool.
See, I know.
So I don't know. I think, you know, there is a plant for every location, but I think you have to pick the right plant for the location. Man has been very
Flagrant.
well, I was gonna say insistent on putting things where they don't necessarily belong.
Well, just look
And-
at the. If you see that in birds too, like with the starling, fuck starlings.
Yeah,
and it's like
starlings
they
are
shouldn't have
bad.
been here. Never should have been.
Certain squirrels are also bad. Squirrels are invasive. I'm not really a big fan
Man.
of squirrels.
Man, just going around with their plants,
Fucking
planting
shut
like
up.
fucking savages.
Yes.
Fucking
Hey,
savages.
Speaking of man's going around planting plants, did y'all? Oh well, I can't say this.
Not loud.
I'm like, never mind. Yeah, so I guess we can talk about how I work at an arboretum. That was a really interesting opportunity that I fell into because of school. And I will say, with my initial start into, you the world of plants, I was never really a big fan of like woody plants. I didn't really care about woody plants. I mean, I guess I did. Like when I would like hike and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that's a cool looking tree. But now I'm like, holy shit, give me some fucking woody plants. Like herbaceous plants are cool because you have, your annuals that are pretty, but most of them are patented plants, so you can't really do anything with them.
With me, it was all about woody plants and tomatoes.
Tomatoes are cool.
It's my jam. Nightshade.
Well, but now you
Well,
like
so
tulips,
did you know?
right?
What?
Tulips do. Yeah.
Tulips.
Bulbs. The bulbs.
Okay, fun fact about tulips. Did you know that it crashed the Dutch economy?
Yes, I did.
Literally. And there was like, there was a whole period that was called tulipomania.
Yeah, I had to cut it from the gardening episode.
No.
I had that on my details.
Yes.
It was like, everybody wanted all these tulips. Like, that one has a vein. 10,000 pounds!
Yes,
It crashed the
literally
dynasty.
crashed the economy.
Yep.
So,
Oh,
I don't know, maybe you can leave that in here as like,
There's a whole book on like the botany of desire where they talk about like
Julie,
how plants
we-
have evolved through
Yes.
humans, like
Yes.
cultivating them and moving them. The tulips are like one of the huge ones that's like,
tulips, apples, potatoes, and marijuana.
yeah, it's like, I guess you evolved to have us love you and now you're everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, did you watch the documentary, The Botany of Desire?
No, I read it when I was way too young.
You should watch it. The documentary, you can find it, I think it's like a PBS documentary, but we watched it in botany.
There you go.
Surprise, surprise. Which is where I learned the tulipomania thing.
Well,
Wow,
before
full circle.
we get too close to the end of this episode, I do see that we have some fun facts. So I didn't want that to get completely cut. Are there any, maybe besides how tulips ruined the Dutch economy?
That's a fun
you can
fact.
tell us some
That is
other
a fun
fun facts.
So, these kind of aren't fun facts. They're kind of sad facts.
They're just facts, people.
These are the
But-
horrible truth facts.
Here's the horrible truth. Thank you, Al Gore.
You can't handle the truth. But they do need to be said, and I think it is very important to kind of understand this. So I didn't really get to talk about soil microbes. Soil is very important, just point blank. If you have any questions, because I don't want to talk too much about it, but you should definitely check out regenerative agriculture. Super cool topic. The Soil Health Institute, they have a YouTube channel. You can go find them. They have a really great 1 hour long documentary. 10 out of 10, I recommend it. It's all about essentially using like cover cropping and making sure and maintaining plant health as a form of like pest resistance. So you're not actually like spraying with chemicals. You're not using pesticides. You're just trying to have a healthy plant and healthy soil. And by using those practices through regenerative agriculture, the plant will naturally defend itself. An unhappy plant is what attracts pests.
I tend to do that with companion planting.
Mhm.
I really like the idea of companion planting, that plants are meant to grow together and have a system. So like, for example, of people who don't understand the whole idea behind companion planting, is I grow peppers and basil together, and basil keeps a lot of the pests that like peppers off of them because they don't like basil. And I do the same thing even when I'm beekeeping. I'll do mint around the edge of the hive because ants hate it. They won't go near it. And so even if your plant is weakened, if you have these other components strengthening it and keeping it healthier, that works a lot better than trying to put pesticides down. Because you're trying to help the plant life and the life in the area. You don't want to punish anything because you wanted a tomato.
Definitely. And it can create resistance within different species. So, it might not work, so many years down the road. They'll just become resistant to it. But soil health is super important. If you're planting anything, I highly recommend you get a soil test of whatever location. It's like $25. You can send it out to wherever you live. I'm sure there's like a soil institute. Essentially, they like burn the soil and they find out like it's all of the minerals that are in it, the 17 elements that are important for plant growth.
Sorry, I just thought of like doctors from the 1700s where they're like, you got ghosts in your blood. And so I thought like the same thing with soil, where it's like, there's ghosts in your soil.
Burn
It's-
it!
Burn it!
Is that what's wrong with my side garden? I have
Yeah,
It might
it's
be.
haunted by that frog
It's
that you
haunted.
keep trying to find.
Well,
It's because of that frog.
It's that stupid frog. It was a totem.
probably. It leached a lot of plastic chemicals into your
There you go.
thing.
Frog's evil.
Do you live in like a neighborhood, like a subdivision?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Evil soil.
Well, and I was about to say it's probably your soil, to be completely honest. So A lot of soil that's in subdivisions is usually really terribly compacted.
Yeah, they scrape the topsoil off.
They scrape the topsoil off, and then they bring in topsoil from other places to like fill it in. So honestly, I would recommend you, Krista, getting a soil test to kind of figure out what you need, because that really would end up helping.
Cold opener for the next episode. My soil test proved I have ghosts in my soil.
I recommend you, Krista, burn that garden down.
Burn the shit down.
Burn it. Hopefully you don't have any hyperaccumulator plants.
I don't know. At this point, I just figure if I just keep putting plants in there, something's gonna happen.
All the decomposition of all the plants dying will create better soil.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, that. In theory, that should work. It might take like a while.
15 years.
Which brings me to my fun fact. So only about 7% of the Earth's soil is arable, meaning we can grow in it. This is a shed a tear moment. It is estimated that by 2050, we will have to up our agricultural production by about 70%. However, we have destroyed most of our arable soils via urbanization and suburbanization specifically.
Yeah, Krista.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it so pointed, but it is true. Suburbs have really kind of done a number on ecosystems. And spoiler alert, soil is a non-renewable resource within our lifetime. It does take approximately 100 years to create a dime's worth, like literally a dime, of arable soil. And a lot of that comes from the breakdown of whatever matter and the buildup of humic acid or humus, not hummus, humus. Don't eat humus. It's
no,
acid.
People.
It's gonna taste like crap.
And death.
And death. But humic acid is what gives plants its nutrients, and it's important for cation exchange capacity. That could go into a whole
So everybody needs to buy up country land and put a bunch of topsoil down, and then wait 100 years and die, and then going forward.
You just buy the land and then try to, fix it. So no-till practicing is really important. Don't disturb your soil. Don't compact it. Don't let it erode. I mean, it's a lot of don'ts, but the thing is soil is really where it starts. Like the earth, like you can smell good soil. Like it doesn't smell bad. Like if you take a handful of soil, like you can taste it. Like people who grow grapes for wine eat their dirt because that's where the flavor comes from. So soil is super important. You want to make sure that you really take care of that soil, especially the microbes and the little biome that lives within soil.
And also do your soil a favor when you buy this like garden and you live there with your multi-generational family, and plan your death accordingly so you can die in the soil.
In the best spot.
Yes.
Yeah. It needs the bones.
Exactly. Don't put a bunch of formaldehyde in your body. That's a conversation for another day.
That's another conversation.
However, I will say I do want to segue into another point that is kind of also sad. So earthworms, specifically in our area and in most areas, earthworms, red wrigglers, and night crawlers are invasive. They did not live here. So where we are used to actually be covered by a glacier.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of years ago, and therefore worms did not live here.
Oh
so what
gosh,
happened is after the glacier. What?
Where'd the worms come from?
Well, people. So,
okay.
well, okay. So they came from other areas. They
just put them in their pocket.
Yeah. So they came from other areas. Mostly, I if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like plains areas. But forests specifically should not have worms in them, and they do. So the reason why they're bad for the forest ecosystem is because they break down the leaf matter and the plant matter way too quickly, and then what happens is the soil in the forest is no longer fertile to sustain new germination. So if you are going to buy worms, please either dispose of them properly or don't buy them at all, or if you are using them for compost, because they are good for compost, like earthworm castings are phenomenal, but make sure that they're contained. Don't, like, if you go fishing, don't throw your bait out in the river. Don't throw it out, wherever you're at, because you're just contributing to harm.
An endless problem.
An endless problem. And like the thing is like there's so many worms. Like we're not going to do anything about that. Like we probably won't even be able to do anything about Bradford pear or Amber honeysuckle. But if you see it and you are able to take it out, like I will say honeysuckle, there's a thing, it's called a honeysuckle popper. It's a specific tool that you can literally, it's kind of like a crowbar type shovel, and you put it underneath the taproot of the honeysuckle and it literally pops it out of the ground.
Yeah, what we do is we chainsaw them to the ground and then we paint them with this like condensed pesticide. So instead of it spreading or whatever, it's like paint.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, so it's like paint. We put it on the top and kill it, but we leave the brush for other creatures to like nest or do whatever they want through the winter, and then we pull it out and burn it in the spring.
Yeah. Just make sure it doesn't have fruit on it.
Right.
Yeah, because then it will just grow.
Right,
in the
yeah.
ground.
We do it before they fruit.
Yeah.
We're just like, nope, bitch. Again. No fruiting.
Yes. And that, that's just being able to identify and remove if you can. And then also planting for pollinators is a really big thing. So you do want to make sure honeybees are great. They're fantastic.
But technically, they're not native.
They are not native. They are
To the
European.
US,
we
really.
ship them in.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal for almond production. That's kind of like what the main use of them is for. However, there are other pollinators out there in your native areas that are very important. So everybody talks about the bees, and yes, we do need to be cognizant of the bees. But you also need to be cognizant of the beetles, the flies, and other bugs. So solitary pollinators, like even like the carpenter bee or your bumblebee, they don't live necessarily in hives. Well, maybe no, definitely.
They don't live in long-term hives.
Yes.
They don't sustain through winter.
They migrate.
Yeah.
And they actually pollinate more than your
Wasps are a huge pollinator for very specific plants and things. And technically, most wasps don't attack you. People are thinking of yellow jackets and hornets, which are invasive.
Yes.
They're German. Fucking stupid hornets.
They're
and
bad.
jackets.
I will never forget the time that you told me that you were sitting outside of your beehive because it was being attacked, and you were just like killing, what was it, yellow jackets
Yeah, it
one
was
by
yellow
one.
jackets.
Yellow jackets one by one, and
Yeah,
you were just like
with my
crying.
phone.
You're like, no, my bees.
It was hours of this raid.
Oh my
Just, like,
god.
popping them,
Oh,
fuckers.
Yeah.
I call it their Valhalla period because yellow jackets, they don't live through the winter. The queen goes and hibernates. So then in the fall, they have this period of just like, I'm going to die soon. And my hive is gone. I'm just going to go rape and pillage. And that's what they do. So it's like their Valhalla period. Fuckers.
Kill them all.
Kill them all.
Kill the hornets. Save
Kill
the
the
beetles.
hornets. Kill the hornets.
Yes. I had another fun fact, but it seems to have eluded me. This episode is very different from our Harry Potter episode.
It is. It's very sad.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if you want to finish out the episode by, shitting on our podcast, you're welcome to do that too.
That'd be a
What?
good little...
Shit on the podcast. Never.
We had an episode about podcasts, and now you could be like, now, as an outside listener, this is what I think of your podcast.
I don't know. I definitely enjoy it. Like,
Even if you weren't my friend. do you
Well,
think
that's
you
what.
would
Well,
like
that's what I'm like. I do think that even if I wasn't your friend, I would enjoy it. Maybe there are some things that I'm kind of whatever about. Like personally, I didn't really care about the Yu-Gi-Oh episode. Sorry, Krista.
That's everyone's like that's
I know.
a big hitter. That's
I
going
know.
for 100 listens.
I know. I've heard.
All the other ones are like under two digits.
And I don't know why, but I don't know. I just didn't like it, but I don't really care for Yu-Gi-Oh. I think I did when I was younger, but now I'm just kind of.
I
but,
don't
you
honestly
guys-
know why so many people are into it.
Yeah, we don't understand.
I
We
don't
just thought
get
it'd
it.
be a filler.
I don't know. Maybe there's just not a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh content out there. I don't know. But I don't know. Keep doing what you guys are doing.
Well, you like the super fights. So you
I
gotta
do
talk that
really,
up.
yes, I do really like the super fights. And if anybody listens to this episode, which I hope they do, because there's a lot of information that I just dumped on all of you, listen to the super fights episode because I think it is definitely one of my all-time favorites. I was cackling in class listening to this while drawing landscape designs, and people were looking at me like I was insane. But the game, I think, was a lot of fun, and I think I don't know. I just think it's original content. I haven't really listened to a podcast that's done something like that, per se. I've seen them play games, but not anything like that. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Well, I think to officially round out this episode, we've kind of gone over, what we think you should do or what you can do to help the environment. And a lot of it's little things. It sounds huge. It sounds like you're taking on the planet when really we're just asking you to look in your yard or your parents' yard and go, hey, that shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And have those kinds of thoughts and try to answer these questions of what does that do? How does that impact? If I can help, just think of plants as more like entities. Don't think of them as just background or randomly there.
Oh no, they're alive.
They're alive. Like, think of them as like, what is it doing to the environment? Is it good? Is it bad? Does it need help? Does it need to be taken out? Having those conversations with yourself, with your family, with your friends who have property, because not everybody has a yard necessarily, but you can have those conversations. Just keep your eyes open to that. And I mean, there's always the conversation of recycle and do all these other things, and it's really tangible. It doesn't feel like it's doing a lot, but it's putting all these steps in place, and you can always just keep going and keep looking. Is there anything either of you would have to say, like, to help the planet or to help the environment, or even just have an interest in gardening, like just a last tidbit?
Well, if you like to be outside, I would recommend just exploring it. It's very meditative. It's very peaceful. It really puts you in the moment, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it. I've always been like a go, 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 checking off my to-do list type of person, and in this industry, which really needs good people, like good helpers. But in this industry, it's one of those things where you kind of have to take a step back and you do have to wait. The saying is slow to grow, slow to show. So, you know, you can plant a plant and you might not know for months, even years, if it's going to die. Like, it might do its thing and you might be like, all right, whatever. But it's just take your time, you know, respect yourself and be kind to yourself when you're gardening. Like, if you kill something, if you kill a houseplant, don't like beat yourself up about it. You're gonna do it. Everybody's got to learn somehow, and you just got to keep trying. I mean, you know, the planet. The fact is the planet will find a way to heal itself.
With or without us.
With or without us, it will heal itself. That's just it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and either we can be a part of it or we can, you know, be the problem. And I think, you know, nobody really wants to be the problem. So
plus, I will say, from my perspective, it is very nice when you do actually plant a plant and then it comes up. There's something because my daffodils.
Your daffodils.
My daffodils came up, and I replanted some hydrangeas last year because my mom had them and she was like fixing her land, so they were gonna get cut down or whatever, so I took them to my house and they came back up, and I was like, oh my gosh, they lived.
I did
it. So I've been kind of happy
exciting
about that.
Definitely, and you should be proud of yourself. I think that's, you know, it is a really exciting moment when you're able to do something like that. And you are, even with just little daffodils, you are helping the environment. I mean, they photosynthesize. Photosynthesis is the basis of all life.
And just you wait. And just you wait how much I'm going to help the environment with my sacrificial blood Japanese maple.
Do it. It's going to add a lot of value to your house.
Yeah, it's one of the few plants that actually adds technical landscape value to your house.
Yeah.
Because all other trees, they're like considered a possible danger or problem or like pruning issue, but since they grow so slowly, they add value to your house, which is why tons of houses have them.
Like thousands of dollars. Like, you can really increase your market value with some good plants.
There you go. That's why your whole suburb is like Japanese maples all around, because we need to increase the value of this house.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah, get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to do it.
And wear gloves, because things are sharp and scary and stuff.
Don't plant knockout roses. Those are stupid.
Yeah, they're very dumb. Go get you some English roses like a real gardener would.
And don't plant tree roses, because those are also stupid.
They're technically still just regular roses.
Yes.
Okay, good. Just rapid fire advice.
Okay. Do not meatball. Do not topiary. That's stupid. It's going to kill the plant, and that's part of the reason why we have boxwood blight. Do not top your trees. That's stupid. But also don't plant your trees under things that they're going to have to be topped, like power lines and cable lines.
Don't over prune, and don't prune out of season.
Don't over prune. Follow the 3D. It's the 3Ds: dead, damaged, and diseased. You are allowed to prune those things, but you should prune no more than 25% of a tree at any given time. Do not lion tail prune your trees. That means like pruning all the branches up until the end so they look like lion tails. Don't do that. That's bad. You're going to kill your trees. They're going to fall over.
Don't grow any ivy outside, you bastards.
Don't grow English ivy. However, the variegated stuff where we live, it doesn't go to seed. Like, it doesn't...
Oh, okay.
I mean...
It still takes over your goddamn house.
Yeah, so it kind of depends. If you have a more modern house, you should be fine. But if you have, like, a house that was, like, built in the 1800s, don't do it. Because it's going to destroy it. Yeah, it's going to destroy your house.
And as much as everyone loves wisteria, it requires a lot of...
Japanese wisteria. You can grow American wisteria. That's Wisteria frutescens. Do not plant Wisteria floribunda.
Which is the one everyone wants.
That is the one with the long panicles, but the American wisteria is really pretty as well. It's just small.
And nobody cares about it. Everybody wants the big dramatic Japanese ones, okay?
What else? Do not plant another goddamn calorie pear.
We will find you. And we will take out your family.
I will hunt you down.
Those stupid fucking pears.
Can I grow a bleeding heart? Is that okay?
Bleeding hearts are fine. Dicentra is like native to the area.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want some good bushes, you should look into Carolina allspice. You should look into spice bush. That's a native one. You could look into, I think here, I mean, in other areas it might be an issue, but here you could technically grow Nandina, which is heavenly bamboo. I would just be careful. You could definitely grow hydrangeas. Those are very great plants. You could grow red twig dogwoods and yellow twig dogwoods. Those would be great for you, Krista, because you like the color. All you have to do is prune out the old canes because they don't look
Well, she also wants Forsythia.
Definitely grow Forsythia. Great plant.
Yeah.
It's that bright yellow one.
You could grow either Ann magnolia or Magnolia stellata, the star magnolia, because they're kind of more bushy. But they smell.
There are so many magnolias, not in this state, but the state just below us. It's like dozens of types of magnolias because we went zip lining, and I was just like, "That's a magnolia. That's this. That's this." Like, I was like telling them all about it.
The arboretum that I work at, we have some really nice magnolias. Yeah. And there are, like, I was actually driving over here. There are people who have, like, one really nice southern magnolia in every single yard. And I'm like, wow, all right.
That's what we do here.
It's just, like, one really nice magnolia. And I'm like, all right.
Thanks for listening on our holiday special and our first guest of the year. On the next episode, we're having a quarterly episode that we're trying to do. We're going to talk about current events again. So you get to hear us rant about Horizon, Forbidden West, and Batman, at least. I don't know what Chris is planning, but those are my two heavy hitters.
Also, go ahead.
I was gonna like actually intro you in.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I have to cold open.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's me,
right.
so
I
there is
forgot,
no
'cause we
introing yet.
God damn it. Okay, we already fucked up. Anyway.
No, it's okay.
Krista has a cold open.
It's not that big of a deal.
Cold open.
We're gonna go way
You're gonna
back.
have to delete yourself.
What?
You're gonna have to delete yourself. Why'd you do that?
What did I do?
You said your mom's name?
No, my mom is not named Monty Don.
Oh, okay.
She would love that, but she's not Monty Don.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I mean, I guess half of that is.
It's D-O-N.
Yeah.
Don, not Dwan.
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 Dwan. I mean, when I was a child, like, literally the Nintendo 64 was, like, the newest console. And I wasn't, like, allowed to play it for more than, like, 30 minutes.
I wasn't allowed to have it because it'd make me gay, so.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Well, look at you
90s
now.
were a
Look
fun
at me
time.
now.
It was very easy to become gay. And, you know, speaking of which, you know, Luke, you married another man, and, you know, that's, like, about the gayest thing that you could do.
It's
so gay.
pretty gay.
And you had a Nintendo 64.
You
all
know,
lining up.
it's all lining up. Maybe your parents had it right. I don't know.
I mean, I had a Nintendo 64 as well, but okay.
Goddamn Donkey Kong and Princess Peach. 4, I work at a better arboretum than Spring Grove Cemetery. Haha, eat that, Dave Gressley.